Alrighty, welcome everyone to today's Digital Marketing Teardowns. If you're watching on the replay, then hello. Today we're going to be looking at a bunch of sites. We're going to be analysing their digital marketing strategy. We're going to be looking at what they're doing to generate traffic through SEO, PPC, social media. We're going to be having a look at conversion optimization as well. Now, we were due to be joined by Andy Miles from the project management team at Exposure Ninja. Unfortunately, due to a scheduling issue, and by that I mean my horrendous organisation, Andy's actually booked on for next week. So yeah, yeah, a little bit of an issue. You can see why I'm no longer in charge of organising much these days. One thing that I am in charge of organising is a chaotic mess. Anyway, no fear. If you want to submit your site to be analysed live, then you can pop it in the comments. We're live across Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, so just drop them in the comments. And if you're going to submit your site URL on YouTube, make sure that you include a space instead of the dot in .com or .co.uk so that it gets through. We've had some sites pre-submitted. Actually, the theme of today, if there was going to be a theme, is actually startup businesses. I think we've got quite a few startup businesses that have been submitted today. So we're going to be having a look through. I've just been having a quick flick through. I like to pick a few at Lucky Dip and then just have a quick look. And we've got some really great stuff coming up as well. Loads and loads of potential. Hey, Sarah, let us know where you're watching from today. I'm participating actively from sun, and I'm joined by the sun, as I was told in a video earlier this week. Okay. Hey, Tim. Hey, Akeem. Good to have you. So as always, feel free to submit your comments, thoughts, suggestions, anything in the live chat. It's all about audience participation. So if you spot something on the site, then call it out. And also, if you, if there are going to be various times where I ask for, what do we think of this as a collective? So it's really good to get your perspective. Particularly, we've had people say afterwards, it was really useful when the audience gave their perspective on our site, because there's very, as website owners, it's very rare that we get lots and lots of live feedback. Cool. We've got Northumberland, Germany. Encrypted Wi-Fi is joining us from Andy. Welcome. East London, Reading. Oh, I like Reading. I used to live, I grew up in Bracknell. Well, we used to say Ascot, but it was technically Bracknell. And Reading, there was a decent drum shop in Reading. Cheshire, also lovely place. Great stuff. From London as well. Awesome. Cool. So we're going to get started. And I'm going to share the old screen. I've got some... there we go. I've got the live chat on my phone this week. So if I'm looking at my phone, it's not because I'm bored. It's because I want to make sure I used to keep note of the comments. Sarah used to live in Bracknell, hated it. Yep. Can confirm. I mean, it's a much nicer place now, I gather. Yeah. Hey, Craig from South Wales. Hey, Ed. Hey, Paul from Liverpool. So this is the first site that we're going to be looking at today. 6 Yards Out, it's called, and retro football merchandise, it says in the page title. Now, as soon as I landed on this, I thought, oh, this is a bit of genius, because I saw these CFAX mugs. Now, I don't know if, I feel a little bit old now that I'm going to be talking about something which maybe some people watching are going to be too young to have experienced, but these CFAX mugs, like CFAX was how you experienced football back in the 90s, right? Before, when Sky was just a distant wish for most of us, particularly us folk in Bracknell. Wasn't a lot of Sky going on in Bracknell. So we were glued to CFAX to see what was happening. And there's some pivotal moments of my childhood coming on CFAX. So as soon as I saw this, I thought, brilliant, classic impulse purchase. Let's go hard on Instagram. Let's go hard on Facebook. These are the sorts of things where if you get the right person, if you show them a CFAX moment from their childhood, it's a lay down, right? A tenner for a mug that takes them straight back to their childhood. So I love the angle. I think there's loads and loads of potential here. Let us know what you think about the site in the comments. I would say, however, that the site itself looks pretty amateur. It looks pretty basic. I can't read much of what's going on in the logo. The sizing above the fold here feels all really weird as well. Now, most of the traffic is going to be coming on mobile. So if we just shrink down the page, help me out, Apple. If we just shrink down the page a little bit to see what it's going to look like on mobile, it's not a huge amount better. Right, we've got above the fold sliders here that are clearly optimized for desktop, but the layout, some of the layout pieces seem to be working for mobile. I can't read any of these benefits in the benefits bar on mobile either, and the menu is precariously close to the logo, which is obviously going to take us straight back to the homepage. So first thing I would say, get some layout on this site. Get a professional design. Get this sorted out, because actually I think you've got some potential. Now, you also mentioned, I'm sorry I've forgotten your name, but you did mention a site that you wanted to compete with and crush into the ground, I think were your words. So love that. So we're also going to have a look at them in just a minute. But first, let's just go through a bit of the product exploration. So I've just come from Nottingham, and being a somewhat Nottingham Forest fan, let's have a look and see what sort of Nottingham Forest memorabilia you've got. Okay, so we've got shirts. Obviously no momentous wins, because it's been a fair amount of time since there was much of that happening in Nottingham, but we've got some shirts, so I can definitely see that these would appeal to Forest fans. Let's go for a team where you may be going to have a bit more stuff going on. Let's have a look at Man United and see what we've got here. Okay, so I mean, these are the sorts of things where I'd be testing Instagram and Facebook ads at Man United fans. Like, it's a no-brainer, particularly Man United fans over a certain age group. Yeah, I mean, there's some like pivotal moments. You know, I remember, I think it was Man United Newcastle. There was a 5-0 Newcastle against Man United back in the 90s. And I hated Man United because I was an Arsenal fan. And back then, competitors. And this was like a pivotal moment in my childhood. If you show me that mug, I'm bored. So I think, I think the angle is really strong here. Okay, but I mean, the site layout, I think it's okay, but it's certainly not as slick as it could be, and it's fairly clear that these are illustrations rather than photos as well, which maybe doesn't do you any help. Okay, content looks fine. Yeah, I actually think you could have a bit of fun with this. You could bring a bit of personality to the business. I don't know what you guys are thinking. Sarah says, my retargeting Facebook ads are doing very badly. Please do a video on how to make a retargeting funnel. Will do, Sarah. Yeah, I don't know what you guys are thinking about this, but my take is that this is like a banter purchase, right? This is, you know, the audience. You know that, you know, this is a fun thing, right? I think you could play up on this. You could be a much stronger personality with it than I think you're being at the moment. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there. Yeah, Sarah says it looks very plain and not personal. Would agree. I'd almost treat this as, well, we're going to have a look at the Terrace store in a minute, who are a competitor. But I would almost treat this like a viral football fan page from the glory days, right? But that you sell products to that audience. So I'd almost like flip the approach on its head. Let's have a look at the Terrace store. Not doing particularly, you know, not focusing too much on SEO by the looks of their page title there. Tim says, what about the button color? Yeah, black button color, not a bad shout, Tim, not particularly obvious at all. What I'm guessing is that's going to be almost full width on mobile. Yeah, maybe a little bit more obvious on mobile. But, you know, on mobile, that product presentation is not good. There's no headline. Yeah, it's not good. So I think really layout is going to be an important piece of this. Let's have a look at the Terrace store. So you mentioned these as a competitor that you want to crush into the ground. You want to mash them into the concrete. So if we're going to do that, we obviously need to beat them on every level, really. Firstly, on design, unfortunately, at the moment, you are way behind on design. It looks like mostly they're going for the kit side of things. I'm not seeing those killer CFAX mugs, which I think are a great gateway product for you to build an audience and get some shares. So we'll come back to that in just a moment. but a much better laid out page. This is clearly mobile first by the size of some of these banners. And if we have a look at the site on mobile, it's much more sensible. Now, what I would say for them is that they're not ordering their products in a logical sense, right? We spoke about this, I think, last week. If I'm landing on this page and I'm not seeing anything that's striking a chord with me, I'm gone. The danger of this is it's Bury AFC Women Home Kit, which, no offense to Bury women, they are not the most, you're not going to, the majority of the people on this site are not going to be looking for Bury Home Kit women, right? They're going to be looking for, one of the big teams, right? So what I might do instead of new releases is have find by team or find retro kits or lucky dip or something like that. But I wouldn't be just going for random new releases, because that's not an order of relevance at all. Right, let's have a look into some of the products then. Or search your club. Why not just give me a drop down? Why do I have to, what? I'm not a fan of this. Not a fan of this. At the moment, I'm thinking you could do a pretty good job on these. Let's have a look at Arsenal. How does the site do on SEO? Good question, Tim. We'll have a look at this indeed. Okay. Right. It's okay. There's no categorization here. This is the TK Maxx. You're rifling through the product lines. It's not ideal. You really do want to kind of categorize this for people. So I'm not actually a massive fan of the layout on this site. Now, I did stick them into SEMrush earlier, and they're doing pretty well with traffic volume. It looks like actually stuff like football phone cases is bringing them in the majority of the traffic. I wouldn't say that necessarily this is the best site in the world for layout for that sort of term, but it's ranking for it. So there we go. Let's have a look at the page that's ranking for that one and see what we think of this. So again, football phone cases, if you typed in that and you got this, which is a chaotic list of different teams from different eras, the chances of, this person who's typing in football phone cases being like Swindon Town 1997, that is exactly what I was looking for. I'm seeing this and thinking, this is crushable. This is crushable. Chris, if it can be considered not safe for work, then I'd suggest it in the website review. Yeah, this is crushable. This could be way better. Bounce rate on this is going to be potentially pretty high because, firstly, I'm showing one type of phone only. I'm not letting people choose by their phone. This needs categorization. It needs filters galore. It needs filter by team, filter by era, filter by phone, all of this stuff. And it's got none of it. So yeah, not a fan of this at all. Now, let's talk about how I would drive traffic. If we were to run this site, if we were to buy this site, or if you were so kind as to just one day decide to gift it to us, I would go straight to Facebook and Instagram, and I'd open my wallet to Mark Zuckerberg, and I would say, take it all, Marky, which is basically where we're going with Facebook ads. So what are we doing here, and how are we promoting it? I actually think you're not a million miles away from the angle I'd be taking with this. Let's have a look at Facebook. Okay, before we go more into the angle and I talk more about these CFAX mugs, I just want to have a look at what you're doing and how much engagement we're getting. Very, very little engagement. Okay, fine. Let's have a look at the Terrace store, and see what they're doing on their pages. So the angle I would take, as I said at the start, is I would turn this almost into a retro football fan page, right? Generic, we're celebrating the days of retro football, which, to be fair, is what the Terrace are doing a bit with their Facebook page. We've got this, which is exactly the sort of stuff I would be posting. These are like the glory days. I actually think their Facebook content is pretty good. Now, they're not posting very much, posting every couple of days. Now, if I was going to really kind of push this as a viral page, we're looking to make 2-5 posts a day and just keep pumping it out, because you've got channels like Sport, which are sharing loads and loads of stuff, and it's the sort of stuff you'd be wanting to make this go viral. But this will be the approach I'll be taking with the Facebook and the Instagram. Now, they are trying to sell half zip hoods. I wouldn't even go there. I would just be like, we are celebrating retro football. And then what you would do is you would mix in the commercial messages with the organic post. So you might share, bring back funky goalkeeper kits. What's your favorite vibrant retro kit? And then you might have a link to the retro vibrant football kit page on your site where people could then go and buy. So think about how you can kind of mix in the commerce with the content. And I'd go and look at meme pages, I'd look at viral pages on Facebook and Instagram and see how they run promotions to their audience. They're not going to be promoting their own brand. They're going to be working with external partners, but you can take the same approach, but you're just selling your brand instead. So that's the angle I would take with this. Now, I think they're missing a mark with their Instagram as well. It should be exactly the same. It should be more of this stuff and less of, this stuff here, because the really promotional stuff is, it's only going to be interesting. I'd just be like building a massive, massive freaking audience for this because there is a massive potential audience. And you've got these sorts of posts, which I think are a great idea. Absolutely great. Yeah, so that's the approach I take. Facebook and Instagram ads. I'd build a massive audience organically with these channels by posting viral content, and then I'll be running ads to my audience. But to get going, I'd start with building those audiences. I wouldn't honestly think that much about SEO, although some of the competitors in this space look to be dropping the ball. Okay, let's do one of the sites that's been submitted. So we had some people drop in their sites earlier. Let's see if I can find one. All right, forourlittleones.co.uk from Craig. So let's have a look at that one. Forourlittleones.co.uk. So first impressions. Let's ask the audience first impressions. What do we think when they land on this site? Chris says, had an Exposure Ninja website review last year. Really excellent it was too. Great suggestions that really made a difference. Great to hear it, Chris. That's great. And if you want to request a free website and marketing review like Chris did, and it really made a difference to him, then go to exposureninja.com/review. We are just being joined here by Shinobi on the live chat. Sorry, Nobes. He's very keen to participate. So for our little ones. All right, what do we think? First impressions landing on this site. What are we thinking, people? Moya says, what's your view on TikTok? Very interesting, huge engagement levels. If you can make it work for your business, if your audience is there, then play there. If your audience is not there, then play where your audience is. There's two trains of thought on this, right? You can either spend your time building, let's say that Exposure Ninja, let's say, what are our views on TikTok? Well, most of our audience isn't spending their time on TikTok. So we're not going to be spending our time on TikTok until they are. Now, you could say, well, this is the land grab opportunity. This is the time when you should be spending your time on TikTok because it's much easier to get organic visibility than it will be later on. But I would contest that because you don't yet know which of these platforms is going to win. And until you know which of these platforms is going to win and whether TikTok will be the winner or whether, Instagram will do a Snapchat and destroy Snapchat by taking Snapchat's top features. You don't know whether TikTok is going to be the thing that's here to stay. So for most of us that are pressured and we can't spend all of our time posting 100 pieces of content a day on every single social channel, we've got to focus our time and energy. And I'd focus it on the stuff where your audience is now. As soon as you notice them moving to TikTok, then go there. But until then, the other thing that I've noticed about TikTok is it's like the short reels type content that doesn't come natively to a lot of businesses. And you see some really inelegant stuff, the firm of accountants trying to do a dance. And it's like, from a business perspective, that's a complete washout. So don't think that just because one social channel is blowing up, you need to be there. I would take the time, be strategic. And if you don't have time to go hard on every single channel, which most of us don't, you've got to pick the ones that make the most sense. Okay, so what do we think about this site? No need for home in menu. Great point. Who said that? Sarah said that. We've got Tim saying, what's going on with the logo? Good question. Looks like we've got some white thing here, which is blocking over the logo. Tom says, feels like the menu hasn't loaded in yet. Need more quality. Logo blocked. Yeah. First impression not grabbing my attention, looks dated, the constant rebuild is getting on my nerves. Savage. But here's the deal, right? We come to a site like this and it's tempting to think when we've just spent our time making this, this illustration, we think, well, this is really good. This looks great. This illustrates what we do. It doesn't. Nobody cares. So I would completely get rid of this, no matter how much it costs you. It doesn't tell us anything about the business. It doesn't tell us what you're about at all. This whole menu system needs to be sorted out. So we've got a mixture here of navigational things, so about us, contact us, our policies, which is probably footer content or top menu content. We've got size guide, which is at the moment completely irrelevant. We haven't yet established what the page is about. We probably want shop, right? We want a shop mega menu, which then offers us different categorized options. We need to get people to the content that's most relevant for them. And at the moment, we've got different categories of things that we're being asked to choose from. Sleeps and bodysuits or older kids 3 to 7 years. Reminds me of a store that used to be near where I used to live. And the heading of their store said something like cocktails, private functions, funerals. And I was like, well, cocktails and funerals, they're not the same thing, right? This doesn't make any sense at all. So we need to offer people that, the right category. Let's not force them to choose between about us and 3 to 7 year olds. Okay, product categorization, and we're straight into what looks like an unlimited list of products. I mean, some of these look pretty cool. I reckon Luke would be well into that. I've got no idea. Let's have a look. I mean, you're going to get people clicking through for curiosity. It does seem to be fairly slow to load, and we've got that thing which I wouldn't necessarily go with. Particularly is you're probably delaying your page load time because it's waiting till the whole page is loaded before it shows that transition. So I just lose the transition, get some lazy load in so you can show this page as quickly as possible, particularly with Core Web Vitals coming. First contentful paint is a massive thing, and I expect this is going to be failing. Okay, product page layout, really, there's a lot of white space here, which doesn't need to be there. Product photography is pretty cute, works. Yeah, looks fine. I don't really know anything about the brand. This from Kite. I don't know anything. Is Kite you, or is this? I don't really know. I'd say at the moment, I'd say we need a new site. I'm going to say that. Moira says it looks like built on Wix. Yeah, and that's both an accurate assessment because it is built on Wix, and it's also a cuss because Wix is, Wix is extremely simple. Simple is prioritized over good looking and functionality. So I think that, fair play, Craig. And we don't want this, we don't want this to appear overly critical. It's just, you're in a space which is fairly competitive. I would have a look at Shopify. It seems to be easier to get good results if you're building yourself on Shopify straight out of the box. But I would also look at some of the e-commerce teardowns that we've got on the channel. So have a look at the Gymshark teardown. There's a lot of e-commerce like layout type stuff there as well. And I'd have a look at some of the conversion rate, the store, how to increase your e-commerce store conversion stuff. So I think really that, the product page layout is going to be absolutely key. This is where you're going to drive any paid traffic to. And at the moment, this doesn't look to be mobile friendly. Which is going to be a serious issue because whatever channels you're getting, you're going to be majority mobile traffic for this type of business. You might be looking at 70, 80%. So, needs to be mobile friendly. I'd have a look at professional design. Okay, great stuff. Okay, other than that, how would we drive traffic? People, if we own this store, how would we be driving traffic to this store? While you're dropping in your comments, someone's just written something very nice. Off topic now. I'm in my 3rd module of digital marketing course, but you're learning more from Exposure Ninja than your course. Do you know what? I've never formally taken any sort of digital marketing course. We get people messaging a lot of the time saying, I want to get a job in digital marketing. Everyone says you need experience or qualifications. My advice is build a website, play with it, see how it works, have a play. Have a play, do it. There's only one way to learn. There's only one way I've learned this stuff. It's by doing it. And it's sucking and failing and then tweaking it until it works and then saying, oh, okay, that's what happened. That's what's going on here. So have a look at your best competitors. Spend 2 hours looking at your top competitors' website, every inch, every pixel. What are they doing differently? Why are they doing that? Of course, make sure that they're good before you're doing that stuff. You don't want to be modeling in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king, but you don't necessarily want to be modeling the one-eyed man. You want to be modeling people with many, many, many dozen eyes. Okay, what are we thinking of this site? Let's see what we say. Yeah, someone else says you'd recommend Shopify. We're moving to Shopify soon. Very good, simple to start. Yes, I actually interviewed the director of SEO at Shopify. Fantastic guy called Kevin on the podcast on Wednesday night. Now, at Exposure Ninja, we've always had this Shopify and all of these kind of site builder platforms always have a limitation, right? There's an inherent limitation in that they prioritize making it simple and easy to use over giving you full functionality. So with something like Shopify, from an SEO perspective, there are some limitations. There is duplicate content created naturally. You can't have access to robots.txt. There are like some fundamental issues with Shopify, which have always kind of held us back from recommending it a lot of the time. And sometimes it is right for people, but sometimes it's not. Speaking to Kevin on the podcast this week, there is some really interesting stuff coming with Shopify and SEO this year. He is getting his teeth stuck into removing some of these SEO limitations. So it could be a very interesting year for Shopify. Okay, right. What are people saying? What will we do? Jan says, traffic and sales. I'd do some outreach to micro-influencers to see if they want to become affiliates for my products. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's exactly what I would do too. So a couple of ways you can do this. We've done this in the past. Find some influencers that, maybe their kid is into tractors, right? And it's going to take you some digging. Have a look on Instagram. Find someone whose kid is into tractors or who's into pigs and say, I noticed that little Bobby is into tractors. I actually run a store and we've got these t-shirts, which are super cute. I'd love to send you one. And they'll say, sure. If they've got a following of less than, say, 50K, they're probably not being sent a whole bunch of stuff. And they probably started Instagram to get sent stuff. So now they're like, bing, bing, bing. Awesome. Loving this. So you send something to them and you say, oh, I'm so pleased you like it. Do you know what? We'd actually happily run a giveaway with your audience. We'll give them another one. So your audience can enter, and then you can use something like Rafflecopter, and people have to like or follow your page or go on your page or answer a question about your website in order to enter the contest, and then the winner gets, the t-shirt. Now you might be thinking, who's going to enter a contest for a £15 t-shirt? Trust me, people are mental. They will enter a contest for a £15 t-shirt, especially if that I'm not even going to go there, but yeah, just do it. So micro influencers whose kids are into red tractors, if you can find them and you can give them a personal message, easy. No, you're not going to get loads and loads and loads of sales for that. And if you can find micro influencers that also have a blog, you're also going to link back to your site when they review it. But it's a great way of getting on people's radar and to start making that connection. And you will get sales from when people run the contest and they have to come and like or follow your page or answer a question about your business. So I think we've got a case study about this. I'm not going to go into too much more detail, but that's what I would do here. And I'd also consider Instagram and Facebook ads. I would build the social following. Let's have a look on the Instas. 27 followers. Okay, so what are we doing here? Why are we posting the same thing twice? We've done a giveaway. Let's have a look. Where's it gone here? Okay. All right. Looks like you've been collabing. Right. So we didn't get many entries on that. Let's have a look at Maddie. Okay. So I think we need a bigger range of followers. And this page, it's going to be getting low engagement. So we wouldn't expect to get much from this. You want yeah, you check out the hashtags, which are going to be like mums with kids of that age, like mums of toddlers or whatever it is, and find some influencers that have a bigger following. You're not going to get much traction with small accounts like this. And obviously, what counts as small is going to depend in each space. But in mummy blog terms, I'd say small is anything with less than, say, 5K followers. So I'd be looking for stuff like 10 to 50. Okay. Okay, someone says, if you build on Shopify, you have to pay $30 and then all the plugins, $1,000 at the end of the day. Yes, it's not a bad point, Tim. Shopify does cost money. WooCommerce is good. Yeah, we build a lot of sites in WooCommerce. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. WooCommerce also gives you almost unlimited flexibility. Obviously, typically you need some development help at some point with WooCommerce, which you don't necessarily with Shopify. Sarah also gives feedback on the Instagram page saying, honestly, it looks a bit desperate with all the giveaways and discounts. Would agree with that. I think one of the mistakes that we can make when we're building a new store is that we think that the only way we're going to get sales is through discounting and giveaways, when actually what we really want to do is build an audience first. By sharing whatever it is, sharing hilarious kids quotes or something like that could be a great way to build an audience first and then sell products on the back of that. Or, we've got to find a way of getting traction. The other thing that you can do very early days is start running some Google ads and see if your product pages are ready to convert. In this stage, they're not. But once you've tweaked the layout, once you've got them looking good, then starting to run some Google shopping ads with fairly low budget. We just need to start getting some sales and seeing what cost per acquisition is, what average order value looks like, so that we can then work on increasing average order value so that we can sell to, customers time and time again. So building an email list as well would be something that I would do. So lots of potential there, but it starts with a website redesign. Okay. Right, let's do another site that was submitted before. So this is Pilo Socks. Now, Pilo Socks, I think when I first landed on this page, it mentioned that we're giving $1 to veterans charities. So I think that's right. It's dollars, so they're probably not on live. What do we think about this site, first of all? First impressions? Well, while you're saying that, one of the things I would say about kind of mission-led businesses like that, also, it's quite a trend at the moment, isn't it, for people to, give a portion or, buy one, give one. We're always being pitched by these organizations to buy one and give one, where you buy a pair of socks and we send another pair of socks to someone underprivileged and stuff like that. To me, that as a marketing tactic is getting older. And if it is legitimately mission driven, if there is a genuine story behind it, like we have a lot of veteran coffee companies in our fan base, then I would go with that front and center. Like, what's the story behind this? Why are we doing that? Is it just a cynical marketing ploy to try and increase conversion rate? Or do we have some personal connection with the place that money is going? Why have we chosen that cause? And if we've got a personal connection, if we can build that personality into the site, that's going to be really important. At the moment, I'm just seeing socks. So what we've essentially got, we've got some pretty cool, we've got some quirky socks. Definitely appreciate that. But they are just socks. And I'm wondering why I need to buy Pilo socks rather than socks that I'm already purchasing. What's going to take me away from my comfort zone? So what are we thinking? Not a great home picture. Yeah, agree. It's not massively high resolution. Be bold is okay, but there are bolder socks, and actually some of these look, yeah, it's not the most flattering angle for good quality socks, I think, particularly in direct sunlight. They look a little bit faded in places as well, so I'd agree with that. Clean theme, the veteran part isn't at the front. I want to make it clear, I think it was veterans. I think we give $1 to something. I'm not 100% sure, but there was some kind of message behind it. Hero image could be even more impactful. Completely agree with that. Top of the page is white space. Yes, definitely. Loads and loads of white space here. Let's have a look and see what it resizes to on mobile. Okay, so it's not so bad on mobile. I actually think the layout is significantly better on mobile. So this has probably been designed mobile first. I'd make the menu sticky on mobile. Yeah, and I'd also consider categorizing. We've got this product, which, I have to scroll 3-page scrolls before I get to other products. So I consider categorizing first up rather than sending people straight to product. Tim says he would buy. Fantastic. Edward says, like to include a video of the background story of their cause to connect with the audience. I think that's a great angle. Great angle. I posted something on LinkedIn, like, how do you make yourself stand out? And for a young business, one of your main goals in life is to stand out from more established competitors. You can stand out on price. You can stand out on quality. Very difficult to do in an established space like this. So therefore, what have you got? Well, you've probably got story. You've probably got background. You've probably got the personality behind the business. And it's the hope that you can connect with someone with that, which is going to increase your conversion rate over them just going, quirky socks on Google and just buying, whatever they recognize. So that's the positioning challenge that we've got, and that needs to come through the whole site. So Pilo Socks, what's the mission statement? What are we all about? Why are people going to choose us rather than anybody else? Catalog probably needs to be a drop down so that we can start categorizing. Unless we only have 5 products. I think we might only have 5 products. Not necessarily a bad thing. But how do we do this? Indri says, makes a very good point there. What about if we show the image quality after a few washes? That could be an angle. Basically, I would have a think about this product. What all the possible ways that you could sell its difference. And by the way, difference doesn't have to be an actual difference, right? I'm reminded of there was a vodka. There's a beer brand or something that back in the 90s used to say we do something to our hops. It's a bit like the triple distilled or triple filtered thing, right? Anyway, it turned out that basically the process that they were using that they referenced in the ad as here's why we're better was it's just a fundamental of brewing beer, right? It was something like, we use hops. It's more sophisticated than that, but there was something about it which they kind of led with as a USP. It really wasn't a USP, but the audience didn't know that. And when you're selling something like vodka, triple distilled, well, what does that mean to me? Well, it's nothing, but, well, it sounds good. Are most others only single distilled? I've got no idea. No, filtered or whatever. I don't drink vodka. Got no idea, but it's something. So do these socks survive 50 washes? Do they survive 100 washes? How do they compare to competitors? How are they stitched? Is there a mixture in the blend which you can talk about? We just need a hook. It doesn't have to be massive. It doesn't have to be these socks are going to get you a pay rise. But we need something. We need some sort of story. Yeah. So I would pursue that line. Right. So Tom says, I'm missing some navigation. I can only see 5 styles. Yeah, that might be that they only have 5 styles. In which case, I would actually take that angle. If you come onto this site expecting to see a large business and you only see 5 products, you're thinking, oh, what's going wrong here? Whereas what you could do is flip it completely. We're a unique sock boutique and we only develop a very small number of socks in very limited quantities. We have drops and they sell out. Okay. Now your comfort is going to depend on, how you run this, but what you might do is mock up some others and mark them as sold out. Right? Each one is limited to a production run of 1,000. Sign up for the next update for when these unique socks are dropped. Something like that. So you could play with exclusivity. That could be an angle that you pursue. Moya says, Indri, you just gave me an idea about what I can add on my website about my products. Great idea. Product washes after yes. Love it. That's the power of collaboration. It's all going off on YouTube. Good stuff. Yeah, so I think first thing we need to do is stand out. Once we've got that hook, then we can start running some ads. But at the moment, other than the socks looking pretty cool, socks for taco lovers is probably an angle that you could take. I think the product photography is okay. Would like to see them on some feet. I guess that it can be quite difficult to make that look good. But I would like to see them on some feet just so I can gauge the length. And, you know, if you're saying that these are to be worn with formal attire, then maybe some lifestyle shots of people wearing suits, then that might be something to do as well. So yeah, I'd pursue that line. But I think first step, stand out. Second step, drive traffic. Once you've got an angle, you can start playing with it a little bit more. So yeah, then it's about Instagram, like, why are these socks selling out? Or it's about some outreach to publications behind the ultra exclusive sock trend. Or, you know, once you've got that angle, you can then look at traffic channels, which will help you. But we need the angle first. Okay, next site that we're going to have a look at in the that's been submitted. So at Reef has just said, can you review my website? I think so, at Reef. What is your website? Depends what your site is one thing as well. Try and choose things which have some relevance for, at Reef, here we go. Journey to happier, oh, okay, wow, things are going on here. Right. Have we not reviewed this site? Street.com. Different thing? Okay. At Reef. Oh, right. No, this is the one. Okay. So first thing, we'd like to show you notifications for the latest news and updates. While you're here, I'm really curious, how many people do you get signing up on that? And what is your bounce rate from this homepage? 2 questions that are slightly related. Okay. So first thing, personal development training. You don't need to find a lesson in your trauma. Cultivate your mind, body, and soul. Do we know what this site is about? Drop us a comment. We've already looked at this, have we? I think we're not entirely convinced what this is all about. Get 10 a day. Right, keep it. From 690 visits, looks like a meditation site. Yes, Paul, it does actually, doesn't it? Yeah, there's I think the color scheme and the logo and the illustration, very, very, yeah, I think you've done a good job of that. If that's the goal, right? If that's the goal. Paul says he's lost. Right, yeah, I'm a little bit lost as well. Okay. So this looks like coaching. It says personal development training, which kind of makes me think that this is training for people that are into personal development. I'm not sure about that. You don't need to find a lesson in your trauma. These are like mission statements. I still don't know what you do, so I'd go up a level. If one of us dummies is coming onto the site, how do you tell us what you do and who this is for? How do you tell us who this is for? The grammar could do with some work. Yeah, it's an important thing. It's a self-development website. I don't know. No idea. Okay, so I don't know what self-development. We need to be clear on the journey. I think it's well designed. We just don't know what it is. Get my free resource on what? Still don't know. So let's say that you're a coach. I think there's a 4-step process that might make me think that there's a coach. So there's a coach. So helping people, recover from trauma or something, helping people recover from medical trauma or past traumas or whatever. That might be the headline. So then when I'm, if I've had a traumatic experience, I'm like, great. What you're going to do, though, is anyone who hasn't experienced a trauma or doesn't think they've experienced a trauma, you've immediately disqualified them. So we need to be really clear about exactly who our target customer is and make sure we're delivering them a message which goes straight into their eyeballs, straight into their brain. Okay. Cultivate your mind, body, and soul is extremely generic. Doesn't tell me anything about this at all. It's not enough to inspire me to action or even to stay on the page. So yeah, there's loads of potential with this. I think it's a good looking site and it actually comes across like you know what you're doing. I feel like there's just a challenge with positioning. We've actually got a video coming out, which is really going to help you. It's all about how to find your positioning statement. So this is basically how to look at everything in your business and turn it into a very simple message which you can deliver to your customer so that they go, great, this is for me, I understand, let's take it forward. So I would watch that first. Yeah. I would get started with that. Okay. Before we go into traffic or anything, you need to have this stuff sorted. And we're spending a lot of time on websites today rather than looking at traffic, but that's because all of the sites that we've looked at need work on the website first. And sometimes it's not even about conversion rate, like layout type stuff. It's actually about what's the positioning, where does the business sit, why does the business exist? Because if you think about digital marketing, there's a funnel. I'm not talking about a sales funnel. There's like a funnel of things that we need to have, or let's flip it the other way. There's foundations, right? The foundation of any digital marketing campaign is a business with a clear offer. But the foundation of a business with a clear offer is a business with a clear target audience and a purpose, a business that is confident in what it actually does. And it has a way of communicating that to its customer. The best and most successful clients that we work with are the ones that they might not be a particularly innovative business, but they know where their space is. They know, here's where all my competitors sit, and here's where I am. If we think about supermarkets, right? In the UK, we have, well, in every country, there are a range of different supermarkets at different price points. In the UK, we have Waitrose, which is they're higher priced products, but it's good quality food for more affluent customers. They know where they are. That message comes across in all of their marketing. Then at the other end, we have Lidl, Aldi. These are cheaper stores that compete on price. So that comes across in all their advertising as well. So these businesses know, and supermarkets are great because there's a very high cost of entry. If you go and try and start a startup supermarket, it's very, very difficult. So that means that everyone in the space is pretty well entrenched. They know where their position is. It's very, when you see a supermarket struggling, it's usually because they've lost their position. They don't know where they are, like Sainsbury's has tried to go on price or whatever. So it's a really interesting space to look at with positioning. And I think we need to take a similar approach with our businesses and just understand, where do we sit in the market? Why should anyone buy from Lidl or Aldi versus Waitrose? Well, it's because it's cheaper. Why should anybody buy from Waitrose rather than Lidl and Aldi? Because it's better quality. So it's about answering that question, why should anybody buy from me? And to an extent, this is one of the most fundamental questions in marketing. And until we answer this as compellingly as possible, our conversion rates are never going to be as high as they could be, because we're hoping to sell to people that find us and we just happen to be there when we need them. And that's fine. If you're a locksmith, if you're a local locksmith, you don't need some crazy positioning statement, because when I'm locked out of my house and I'm typing in local locksmith, I'm not like, oh, what's the mission and the purpose behind this business? Where are they positioned in the market? But having said that, if I see a locksmith that says, we guarantee to have you in your house within half an hour, well, that's a clear positioning statement, and I'm into that. They may not be the cheapest, but I'm into that, right? So it's about understanding this positioning first. Okay, right, next up, we're going to have a look at Campus Shop, campus-shop.com. So this looks interesting, looks worldwide, because we've got different currencies here, which immediately makes me think dropship. And it looks like a sort of dropship site that has chosen a niche, which is a good idea for it's a good idea if you're going to be a dropship business. Good idea to choose a niche, because then you're more likely to have a position. But this positioning thing is quite an important piece of a dropshipping site. And it's one of the challenges that a lot of dropshippers face, is that we're just selling the same products that are available on loads of other sites. Yes, we might have categorized them into one type of store, but why should I buy these products from your store when I can buy them on Amazon and get next day shipping? Okay, if I'm ordering these and I'm seeing that Canadian dollars is your default currency, I'm thinking this is either going to be shipped from Canada or it's going to be shipped from China. Now, I might be a more educated customer than many, but if I'm going onto a site and I'm having to choose my currency, immediately I'm thinking this isn't a business that's based near me. This is a business that is somewhere bigger. So immediately shipping times are going to be one of my main concerns. Okay, so we've got get these free awesome gifts. This offer is valid today only, which I don't believe, but that's fine. Okay, so what happens when we click on one of these? Does that just open a spreadsheet? Wow, it looked like it opened a spreadsheet. Okay, so what's the deal here? How does this work? I don't know what this means. That's irrelevant to me. What? I don't understand any of this, and I'm immediately really confused. So I thought I was just choosing something to get free. I don't know how this works. It's more likely to be a conversion impediment at this point because I'm now thinking, I was going to get that freebie and now I'm not. I feel like I've lost, even though I'm actually where I was when I first landed on the site, but it feels like something has been taken away from me because it's not working. So that, not ideal. Okay. I can't get rid of it either. Oh, no, maybe there. Okay. Right, store. Let's have a look and see what we've got going on here. Okay, whoa, that is a lot of product categories. I'd find some way to subcategorize these. Maybe it's navigation, sleeping, clothing, tech and accessories, something like that, just to make it a little bit easier. At the moment, it's in alphabetical order, which isn't easy. It's very high demand for me to, we want to make it really easy. We really want people to have 7 choices max. So if I'm choosing between 7 different categories, let's say I want to buy a tent and one of them is like tents and sleeping, I'm like, okay, easy. That's easy for me. Whereas if I have to navigate down here and be like, okay, so what's the deal here? Action camera, archery, backpacks. These are alphabetical order. Okay, right, what do I want? Tents. Okay, T. So T there. The work I've had to do just to get to my product category is too much. People are so lazy. You wouldn't believe it. Okay, tents. The campus survival guide. Okay, fine. Lead gen. Love it. Where's the menu gone? Not sure about that. What are we thinking here? What are we thinking, people? What do we feel about this? Oh, something's gone on there. I've gone somewhere else. This site is not, it needs design. Okay, so what have we got? So we've got some USPs, maybe best quality on the market. So I've got stuff here that isn't in the tent category. Outdoor reflected rope is not a tent. That is not a tent. So I'm immediately annoyed because I'm already having to flick through a whole bunch of different products, 5+ pages. I don't know why this isn't just infinite load. And some of it's not even tents. So I can't work out how to filter. So from a shopper's perspective, this is a difficult thing to navigate. Certainly when you're competing against buy tents online, Amazon, why am I choosing this over Amazon? Let's have a look at one of these. So we've got a beach camping tent here. Load speed seems very slow. Paul says, I got lost in the menu pretty quickly. The chatbot has the wrong welcome message. How can I help? Maybe better. Chat with us. Yeah. Chat with you. You don't want the sort of people that respond to that. Trust me. They're very bored. Okay. Oh, right. So we need an automatic lookup based on IP to show people the right currency, because as soon as I see this is in Canadian dollars, I'm out. It's broken. It's broken. The site's broken. There's no information. Oh, there is information about this product. Attention spelt wrong. Color will be sent in random. That is not a feature. This product image doesn't help. This site is not ready. Okay. Nope. It's a no from me. Needs a lot of work. Fundamentally, I would reconsider the business model. I would expect that conversions are going to be very low. If we're a drop shipper, here's what I do with drop shipping if I were you. Rather than trying to sell a massive store full of all sorts of stuff, generic stuff like this, I would look for what are the trending products? What are the quirky products that you can run Instagram ads on and get sales fairly quickly, right? Whether it's like, I don't know, you see these quirky products that you see all the ads for, right? A few years ago, it was a black face peel. It might be like something, mobility related. It might be like an hoverboard or whatever. Like, find something that seems to be blowing up. If you're just stripping this from Alibaba and all the reviews come from Alibaba, right? Find some real trending products. Then go all in on selling that. Okay, this is going to be a short-term thing. You're going to get loads of traction for a couple of months and then it might be over. But you're going to get more sales than from this approach where it's really generic. It's going to be very difficult for Google to ever justify ranking this. The margins are going to make Google shopping very difficult. And these fundamental issues like this is meaningless to me. It just doesn't make any sense. So I'd have a think with the energy that you've put into this. I think you could be getting a better output. Right, we're going to have a look at one more site and then we're going to keep going. Okay, so what have we got? I can't forgive the apostrophe abuse in the navigation. Our bestsellers. If you can read that. Our bestsellers. Tom. Yeah, I'm with you, mate. Apostrophe. What did you call it? Apostrophe abuse. Yep. Number one crime in the world today. It goes unreported, it goes unpunished, but it is a serious, and people think there are no victims. Us pedants, we spend our lives being offended by the misuse of apostrophes. So it's not a victimless crime. Okay, let's have another look at the site that has been sent through. Customkeys.net. I think you've put in a password. I'm trying to find it so we can do it. Let's have a look. I think you've put it in. Oh yeah, custom. All right, I got it. Okay, I'm gonna try and find this. I'm gonna put the password in that you've given. We're gonna have a quick look at this before we wrap up. So let's have a look. There's the password. You won't be able to see this yet. I'll bring it onto the screen once it's ready. Here we go. Right, let's have a look at this. So instant 10% off discount. Fine, I don't know what I'm buying yet. Enter using password, here we go. Okay, custom keys. Right, feedback. They're live on this. They're live on the session. Let's give it all. What do we think? Custom keys. First thing, I don't know what you sell. Right, cables. Right, let's get that above the fold. We're not going to see that on mobile either. Nope. So this is cool. It looks like rainbows and unicorns. I actually think it's pretty quirky. Kind of cool branding, but not at the expense of telling people what this is about. Okay, this looks like micro USB cables. Engineer a beautiful experience into something that was so often overlooked. Okay, I'm into this. And by the way, when we moved house, I realized that nobody ever needs to manufacture another micro USB cable because I have an almost infinite supply. Okay, this looks interesting. We've actually got a unique angle here. I would get videos. A video explaining what you do and why you're different, because I think this is pretty cool. Someone's taking a new approach on this. I love the colors. I love this. You know, yeah, I like it. I like it. What do we think? Moise has no idea what it's about. Paul says, what are they selling? Yeah, good question. But once we've got that it's cables, let's have a look. Right, so let's go into the cables section and see what we can see here. This is almost like an infomercial. So holy moly, these cables are... Yeah, right. So we're selling on quality. We're selling to the absolute, you know, because I don't think anybody at the moment doesn't have enough micro USB cables or USB-C cables. And I'm not buying a £40 cable if it's saying it's going to get scratched. I don't understand this. Right. I think we need to... Right. So here's my feedback for you. And this isn't marketing feedback. This is business feedback. If you're selling a £40 cable, you've got one shot with that customer. If you can turn them into a fan, you're going to have them for life. If they get it and it scratches, they're not a fan. Okay, we're selling this as being extremely durable, which is great. Exquisite craftsmanship, great. But if it gets scratched, that's not great. I would consider whether you really want to sell this product. I know that you've invested cost into it and all that type of thing, but given that people are going to be having their first impression of your business from their first purchase, and if they buy this and it scratches, they ain't coming back. And that is more costly than the cost that you'll absorb from replacing these or figuring out a lacquer that you, or whatever you can do to put them on it. So yeah, I would have a think about this. So the other thing I would think about is if we're selling £40 cables, right, there's definitely a market for this, and it may even be me. But we need to be selling in a very, we need to be really, really selling to that audience. So this is, maybe it's people who love cable porn, right? So this is people who are like, they've got their custom PC set up at the back and they've got all these lights and they've got these cables going down these nice channels and gullies. You might be the cable pedant, right? This might be your passion area, and the people who are really into this, who just hate this mess that's all around them, finally they've found a home. Okay, so I would make this place feel like a home, like a relief for the people who are going to be buying from this product. And at the moment, it's basically a curly cable that, yes, it's going to be good quality, but I'm not being called out from the homepage. When I land on this homepage, I'm not like, this is going to be a £40 cable. I'm trying to think of the guitar cables that sell very high cost. If Dale's on the show, he'll know. I can't think of it, but anyway, have a look at how musician cables are sold, because there are some very high-end musician cables that are being sold. Custom Keys says, in terms of marketing, the only marketing we do is influencer marketing. You can see an example on the homepage where it says YouTube review. Okay, and I think influencer marketing is probably right. I would be running collabs and I'd be running giveaways with influencers. Where's the homepage? Let's go and have a look. I can't see it. Oh, YouTube review there. Okay, I've completely missed it. Can't we just embed it into the page? Okay, this is your strategy though, right? Send it to influencers, get them to produce the stuff. Get them to produce the content.
Welcome back to Too Much Tech. And in today's video, we got something really cool here. We're going to be unboxing some more custom coil keyboard cables. This one is going to be from...
Right, how many views has this had? I mean, like Dream would be MKBHD, wouldn't it?
Carbon footprint starts at home with 100% renewable.
Yeah, this is what you want. This is what you want. He's highly engaged, not massive subs, but highly engaged audience.
From Custom Keys, you can find their website and Instagram.
Yes, this is what you want.
For sending out their new cables.
So why aren't you? We've got people saying, great video. What keyboards are compatible for the custom cables? Why aren't you in the comments? Why aren't you answering these questions? Not just for them, but for other people that have that question. Right, so this looks great because they can do the positioning for you because you're piggybacking on their positioning. However, what I would do is consider whether you might even want to have brand ambassadors. Like long term, you could take the Gymshark route, right? Give that guy his own custom cable where he gets an affiliate cut as a way of introducing people. See if you can find other people, like, send them if someone's into rainbows and unicorns, can you send them the unicorn cable and say, look, we'd love to make a U version of this with your logo on or something like that. Like, how can you play up on their audience and give them a product that they can start selling to their audience in order to introduce them? So Moya says, after watching this video, I'm 100% sure this is perfect for TikTok. I think probably. My only caveat is whether the audience for this is TikTok or whether it's a YouTube audience. And I think there's probably both. But go with the one that you're most comfortable with. Yeah, Paul says, I want to know why that cable is worth £40 and why I can't live without one. So there's actually two answers to that. There's the quality and then there's the perception. So you can make a quality argument based on, show the cross section of the cable. This is how it's not Monster Cables, is it? Maybe it's Monster Cables. I know we're going over time, but we've got to do this. Maybe Monster Cables, high performance. All right, here we go. I'm hoping that they're going to be selling. No, it's not Monster Cables. But what I'm thinking is it's the cross section of the cable showing each different component and why it's so important. Let's have a look at some of these. So I'd have a look at musicians. Now, I know, that a lot of these things, it's a digital cable. So actually the quality, there's no sound degradation, but people don't necessarily know that. Anyway, I'm not going to bore you. I'd look for the most expensive. Something like this. If Gary Gilmore's using it, then it's going to be geeky. We need to find their own website. Here we go. So let's have a look at how these are positioned. Let's have a look at the marketing on this. Now, for many people, here you go, an image of someone, I don't know who that is, but Guy Pratt, right? So that might be meaningful to some people. So for many people in the music space, why something is worth £40 is because their idol uses it, okay? And that might be the play that you go with. For someone like Gary Gilmore, who's well known to be obsessed with sound quality, the fact that he chooses this is, might be really important. So you might find a tech YouTuber who's obsessed with minimal desk design, and they've said, I'm sick of this. I just want a really clean look, and that's why I choose custom cables. So then all of a sudden, you are the cable choice for people that are in minimal desk design and productivity and all that type of stuff. So I'd find your space and own it, like be really confident about that and go for that. So yeah, I hope that helps. And then once I've done that, I'd actually be running ads to that guy's audience. I'd be running YouTube ads to that guy's audience, run pre-roll to his videos and other people like him, maybe using snippets of that thing as well. You could run a thing with him and you could say, we want to run some ads to your channel, to this video that you're talking about these cables, and then he's going to get the views and you're going to get the sales. So yeah, there's loads of potential with this. Looks really, really cool. Okay. Right. Thank you everyone for joining us today. We're going to wrap it up now. We'll be joined next week by Andy Miles. Sorry for the misselling. He was, I got confused with my weeks. So he'll be joining us next week to talk about content marketing as well. But I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to request your website and digital marketing review from Exposure Ninja. If you're interested in working with us, we've had to tighten the criteria that we're able to do these reviews for now. But if you're interested in working with us and you have a marketing budget set aside, then request your marketing review. You can do that at exposureninja.com/review. If you're not ready for the review yet, you'll still get some exclusive training, which isn't out there, which will help you get to a stage where you are ready for that review. I hope you've enjoyed this. Don't forget also to check out the Exposure Ninja podcast on whatever podcast platform you listen. Just search Exposure Ninja. We release an episode every week. And of course, if you haven't already, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Have a great rest of the day today. Have an awesome weekend. And I will see you next week. Take care, people.